The clock glowed 12:03 a.m. when Clara's phone buzzed on the nightstand. Half asleep, she reached for it, eyes half open. The screen lit the dark room in a pale blue glow. Ethan calling. Her heart jolted. Ethan. The name she hadn't seen in 6 long months. The man she once planned her whole life around, until the breakup that left only silence. Her hand hovered above the screen. Should she answer? Why now, after everything? Before she could decide, the call ended. Just one ring, then nothing. She stared at the screen for a long time, the glow fading until it went black again. She waited a minute, then called back. No answer. Once more, straight to voicemail. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe he'd called the wrong number. Or maybe, deep down, she wished he hadn't meant to call at all, because that would hurt less. When morning came, sunlight spilled through her window. Her phone pinged with a message from a mutual friend. Her fingers froze as she read the words. Clara. Ethan was in a car accident last night. He didn't make it. The time of the crash, 12:18 a.m. 15 minutes after the call. Clara sat on the edge of her bed, the morning light sharp and cold. Her phone still showed the missed call, Ethan, 12:03 a.m. Her fingers hovered over the screen, shaking. Then she noticed it, a small red dot beside voicemail. Her breath caught. He had left a message. She pressed play. For a few seconds, only static filled the air, faint wind, a distant hum, then his voice. I'm sorry. I had to call you first. 12 seconds. Then silence. Her whole body went still. It was his voice, tired, breaking, but real. She replayed it again and again, searching for meaning in every breath, every pause. Why her? Why call her, not his fiancé, not his brother, not anyone else? Later that day, her phone rang again. The caller ID made her stomach twist. Rachel, Ethan's fiancé. Clara, Rachel said softly, her voice raw from crying. You were the last person he tried to reach. Clara's throat tightened. I didn't even get to say hello. Rachel's tone hardened just slightly. I guess he still thought of you. After the call ended, Clara stared at her phone. She pressed play once more, listening to his last words. I had to call you first. The funeral was held on a grey afternoon, the kind of sky that looked like it wanted to rain but couldn't. Clara sat quietly at the back pew, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. She hadn't seen Ethan's family in months, and every face in the room was both familiar and foreign. When the service ended, people gathered outside, murmuring condolences, exchanging stories. Clara was about to leave when Rachel walked toward her. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Rachel said softly, he loved you once, you know. Her voice trembled, more pain than anger. But I just don't understand, she whispered, eyes glistening. Why call you before me? Clara swallowed hard. There was no answer that wouldn't sound cruel. I don't know, she managed, her voice barely a breath. That evening, unable to let it go, Clara drove to Ethan's apartment. The key was still on her chain from before they ended things. Inside, everything smelled faintly of him, coffee, paper, and cologne. She moved through the quiet rooms, leaving a small box of his old letters on the table. And then she saw it, an envelope resting neatly on his desk. Her name written across it in his handwriting. The date, the day before he died. Clara stood staring at the envelope for a long moment, afraid to touch it. Her name was written in Ethan's handwriting, the same looping letters she used to trace on notes he left her on their kitchen counter. Her hands trembled as she slid a finger under the flap. The letter was short, written in blue ink, every word steady, as if he'd known exactly what he wanted to say. Clara, if you're reading this, I couldn't keep pretending anymore. The truth is, I've been sick for months. The doctors said it's terminal, fast, unfair, and quiet. I didn't end things because I stopped loving you. I ended them because I wanted you to keep living, not waiting for someone fading away. Tears blurred the words. Rachel helped me through treatment, but she knows my heart never left you. I don't know what comes after this, but if I ever get one more chance to speak before I go, I'll call you first, not to start again, but to end things the right way. The room swayed around her. She pressed the letter to her chest, the paper damp with tears. The missed call wasn't an accident. It was a promise kept, a final goodbye from a man who refused to leave without making peace. For 2 days, Clara carried the letter everywhere, folded neatly inside her purse, close enough to feel real. She wanted to believe it all made sense now, that Ethan's last call was simply his way of keeping a promise. But then Rachel called. Her voice was calm, but there was something cold beneath it. I think you should know something, she said. That night, the night of the accident, Ethan didn't have his phone. Clara frowned. What do you mean? He left it in my car, Rachel replied. He borrowed mine to call the towing service before he left. His phone was locked in the glove compartment. Clara's breath caught. But, he called me. I still have the record, the voicemail. Rachel hesitated. Then maybe it was a glitch. Maybe you imagined it. Grief does strange things. The line went dead, leaving only the hum of disbelief. That night, Clara sat alone with her phone and pressed play again. Static. Wind. The faint crackle of something far away. Then his voice, clear, trembling. I had to call you first. She listened until the words no longer felt like sound but like something else, a presence that didn't need a phone, or time, or even life, to keep its promise. The days blurred together after that, work, sleep, and silence all blending into one long ache. But Ethan's words haunted her every night. The call log still sat on her screen, unchanging, as if waiting for her to understand. One evening, she finally drove to the place where it all ended, the coastal road that curved sharply above the sea. The guardrail was twisted, marked with flowers left by strangers. She stood there, wind whipping through her hair, phone in her hand. The breeze carried the same hollow sound from the voicemail, that same thin whistling rush that felt like someone breathing. She closed her eyes. Ethan, she whispered, if you're still here, you can let go now. Her phone suddenly vibrated. The screen lit up. Ethan calling. Her heart stopped. She stared, frozen, before pressing answer with trembling fingers. For a moment, nothing. Only the sound of wind and the distant crash of waves. Then, faint and soft, a voice she knew better than her own. Now I can rest. The line went dead. The phone fell from her hand, landing in the grass beside the flowers. And for the first time since that night, the air around her felt warm, as if something had finally been set free. Weeks passed. The world went back to its rhythm, traffic, morning alarms, unanswered texts, but for Clara, everything felt slower, softer. The ache was still there, but it no longer hurt like a wound. It pulsed like memory. On her desk sat a small silver frame holding Ethan's letter, the edges slightly worn from the number of times she had unfolded it. Sometimes, when the house grew too quiet, she'd play the voicemail again. Not to prove he'd called. Not to chase the impossible. Just to feel peace. I had to call you first. Each time she heard those words, they sounded less like guilt and more like love, the kind that asks for nothing back. One evening, she sat by the window watching rain slide down the glass. The phone was beside her, silent now, its screen dark. She smiled faintly. You kept your promise, she whispered. You said you'd call first. Outside, a gentle gust of wind brushed the curtains, lifting them just slightly, as if something unseen had paused to listen. Clara leaned back, closing her eyes. The pain, the confusion, the haunting, all faded into calm. Sometimes goodbye doesn't come when we expect it, it comes when the heart finds courage to speak one last time. He didn't call because I was first in his life. He called because I was the one who needed to hear it. Thank you for listening. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Academia Bees for more emotional English stories.